if you're gonna trust Pose that he's gonna make the right decision. But I will say, like that yesterday just showed me that like he has to be on the money with that decision because the Lions and the Packers are lapping the Bears right now, and it's not even close.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that too, because I thought that was an interesting thing that I looked at. Right, talking about how far are the Bears away from playoff success? How far are the Bears behind the other two teams in the NFC North? I mean, I think the Vikings are kind of at their end. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Kirk Cousins. Yeah. They're probably going to end up having to move off of him because of the injury. And at this point, he's 700 years old. He's still going. He's probably still going to have like another 4 years in the league, throwing 4,000 yards and going out the first round.
Flacco, dog. Why are you doing like that?
Hey, by like a year, brother. Come on now.
Give him a season, baby. Give him a season.
I think we become the AFC East back when the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins were, fighting against each other like this.
Here's the problem. Which one are we?
Well, I don't know yet.
I mean, that's the problem. Right? Now we could be the Dolphins in that situation. That wasn't a good time for the Dolphins.
It's three good teams. My point is that, or even Buffalo, whatever. But the point is that we're gonna have three squads in the NFC North because this offseason is a very pivotal year of like grabbing more talent. Are we getting this three technique? Are we going to fix this O-line? We need three linemen. We need at least two defensive linemen. And I think from there, if you can do the extra stuff like a receiver, another safety, this team, because the way that they were starting to play, the problem is like they've had these flashes of brilliance and they just didn't put them together. You know what? I thought of a point since we can name drop Mike Singletary when he was on the show last week.
Phenomenal. Mike Singletary pulled up.
Remember what he said.
Samurai.
He said, you got to respect the coach.
Yeah.
You got to follow the coach. And if you do that, you're not going to be able to like play, or if you go off what the coach says, which is why like what Fields had to do. Remember when he said coaching, he told on them way long ago and had to come back and double back. I wasn't putting my coaches under the bus because if you go against the coach, that's going to put you in a bad light. And so I just think that like everybody wants a quarterback to come in.
And then the rest of the team did, and the GM, and the head coach.
No, they all did it later. Later. After week 16.
Hey, Getsy got to a point where it was just like, fight back. Fight back.
No, Getsy fought back.
Let him get up. Let him get up.
Justin has the ability to audible.
You're not going to get a quarterback that they don't want you to go off script as much. And I think that's the problem. Like, even with Caleb Williams, he does a lot of off script things.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff he does is off schedule.
That, though.
A lot of the stuff he does is off schedule.
But the problem is that what the whole point about Fields not even running around like he does anymore, if he keeps developing bad traits and not really learning how to pass first and really get in there and then use your legs to extend the play, kind of like what Mahomes does.
Yeah.
You don't want to develop bad traits of not knowing how to have pocket presence. And so I just think that you can't expect that from a rookie quarterback coming in here. He's just going to be super whatever and then just win all these games. He has to follow the script, whatever they got, the program that they have.
Well, but here's the thing, right?
If I may, Joe, because realistically, Mike Singletary also said that a QB can develop bad habits, and some of those bad habits are some of the things that you just mentioned, right? So, like the one thing about a newer QB, and I'm not saying I'm not a Williams guy. I've been a Daniels guy in this conversation, realistically, but I understand it. But like realistically, you come in with a clean slate that doesn't have those same tendencies. And you get to start fresh, and starting fresh with an OC. Like if you're clearing house, you start fresh with your OC, start fresh with your coach. You can start to develop that now. Whereas the other end of it, you're talking about having to undo negative traits that's already developed in Justin, as opposed to realistically allowing someone else to handle that problem. It really is a darn if you do, darn if you don't situation, because it could go either way. Because Justin does have those negative traits.
But I think that's the thing, right? Are you putting yourself in a position where you're more further away from actually moving forward in this division? That's the biggest question that Ryan Poles has to answer. Because, yeah, sure, right? Caleb Williams may come in. He's fresh. He doesn't have the unlearned things that even though there's going to be a lot that he does in college that he's going to have to unlearn. Like, and Lincoln Riley just be letting them go out there and just Throw it.
Hey,
he
Run.
just listened to their team.
Figure it out. Hey, Lincoln Riley's system is.
games be 55-50.
Hey, bro, Lincoln Riley just be like,
Every
let it fly, baby. Hey, what play we running here? 4 vert. 4 vert.
Hey,
Ain't known for defense.
Hey, he just hit.
Here's my opinion on the whole moving forward with Justin Fields over getting Caleb Williams is because if you want to keep up with the Detroits and the Green Bays, and let's just specifically pinpoint Green Bay, right? Because as much as we may say, oh, we hate Green Bay, you got to respect the way that they go about their business, the way that they draft, and the level of talent they have at the important positions. Because if we're talking about wide receiver, we may have the better receiver in DJ Moore, but that's all we have. They have literally a depth of receivers. They got Dobbs. They got Dontavian Wicks, which is a decent receiver as a rookie. Yeah. They got a potential star in Christian Watson. They got Jaden Reed, a tight end in Luke Musgrave. Yeah. So that offense has been addressed. And I feel like if you go into the draft and you do those same things by trading outside of that first pick and addressing the needs, as we've been talking about ad nauseum, then you can kind of get on that same level and you can start maybe seeing that Justin Fields ascend to a level of where Jordan Love is at.
Some of those the same guys that Aaron Rodgers couldn't win with.
Well, I don't.
Christian Watson,
I don't think I ever said Aaron Rodgers couldn't win with him. I said y'all gave him a rookie team. Now, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he didn't like the rookies.
But Christian Watson actually played really well in the second half of the season. He started to develop really nicely
when
last
year. When he plays, that joke only played like 8 games.
Well, we talk about last year with Rodgers in the second half. Now, this year, hey, that man's been out. Can you tell all the players that are on Joel's fantasy team, by the way? No, here's the one thing. Here's the one, right. Hey, he don't never play. I hate this guy. Wait, what? No, but here's the one thing that I will say, and it's the one part that I think Bears fans miss on a lot, right? And it's what I said earlier when you talk about winning in the division. Kid, you mentioned this, right? Do we think about Jared Goff or do we think about Ben Johnson? We think about Ben Johnson because Jared Goff was all right. Yeah. And then Ben Johnson came in and all of a sudden we're just like, hey, Jared Goff is kind of an elite quarterback. He can actually compete for an MVP out here. He's going out here dotting mugs up left and right. He just beat Matthew Stafford. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like the biggest thing for moving forward is, are you going to have the biggest decision to me is at the quarterback. The biggest decision to me is the guy putting plays in place, because guess what? For all the bad you can say about Justin Fields, I can say just as much good. For all the bad I can say about Caleb Williams, I can say just as much good. And to me, that means that if you have a coach that puts either of these guys in the right position, you can find success. You can talk about, okay, we're going to go out here and we're going to actually have a quarterback that can make plays. Why? Because the OC made his job easy. And I know people listen to that and say, well, he shouldn't have to make his job easy. Listen, dumb. That's what a coach is supposed to do. You're supposed to give your guy easy throws. You're supposed to give your guy easy passes over the middle. And I think that, are there things Justin Fields needs to improve on? 100%. But if you give him the opportunity to make the easy plays, then you allow him the chance, because now people fear what he actually can do with his arms and legs. That allows you that little bit of time to actually go out there and make some of the difficult plays. Guess what? Caleb Williams is going to be the same conversation and shorter. Like, he's going to be I believe generational talent when I see it, right? Pat Mahomes wasn't a generational talent coming out. Guess what he is? He's a generational talent.
With a Hall of Fame head coach, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we don't have that. I don't know how to tell you this, Joel. We don't have a Hall of Fame head coach.
Like that, though.
I hate to tell you this, Joel, and I hope to God we look back at this in 20 years and we replay this video and talk about how we have a Hall of Fame head coach. We don't have a Hall of Fame head coach.
But Pat, answer this question for me, my brother.
Oh, here we go.
Andy Reid, what did he do with Alex Smith? Who was a failed first round #1 pick overall?
Well, no, he didn't fix him. He didn't fix it.
No, he got the best out of him. They were 13-3 AFC contender.
I don't know if he
years.
got the best out of him.
He was decent.
Hey, dog, that was
what did he do since he left? He got the best.
Jim Harbaugh made it to the same spot with him.
He was.
My point is
the 49ers were in an NFC title game. My argument is I'm not giving the credit to Reid for fixing him. I'm giving the credit to
I didn't say
Harbaugh.
He fixed him. I say he got the most out of him. They were consistently winning in Kansas City. Then he gets a talent like Mahomes.
Yeah.
And now he's taking off. That's all I'm saying. Like, the point is that even with a mid quarterback like Alex Smith, you can have success because you got a good scheme and you protect them with running, offensive line, defense, all those things. And the problem was they were a contender for so many years. Now you get a guy with some actual talent. Now, is Fields, is he more, like I said, what's his ceiling? Does he need to just be unlocked because we had a limited play caller? Or, that's the observation or the research and whatever that the polls has to do when he's making this key decision.
Is Fields still a better talent
what it
than
is
Jordan
the
Love?
fact that you
wait, say it again, kid.
Is Fields still a better talent than Jordan Love?
Jordan Love?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Here's what I say. Does Justin Fields have more skill than Jordan Love? Yes. Is Justin Fields a better quarterback than Jordan Love? No.
Thank you, Matai.
So I think you're saying that. So Jordan Love is more skilled, but Justin has more talent.
Right.
Justin has more talent.
He has the potential to be
Jordan
better than Jordan Love, is what
yeah.
you're saying.
Okay.
So like as we're going through the game, right now where we're at now, granted, I'm watching Jordan Love in LaFleur's system, who I've said for a while is really, really good. And for some reason, like all of a sudden, this playoff game, he got his flowers because he finally was able to just destroy a team with Jordan Love. And I thought LaFleur had a really good system that really worked for Aaron Rodgers, but everybody just went, well, that's Aaron Rodgers doing all the work. Aaron Rodgers is calling the plays. No, it's not. It's Matt LaFleur. Having a good system works. But I think that that pairing's gonna be tied together for a long time. So you're gonna have a head coach with Jordan Love that's going to put him in positions to be successful more times than not. It's up to Jordan Love to take advantage of those.
We got a super chat
I think
Adrian. Go ahead, Ringo.
I think if anything, right, it's kind of like Pat was saying about how I think you were saying last week about if I bring Justin this tablet and I go, hey, can you do this? And he's like, yeah. And he goes out and executes it. That's one thing. That's one thing. I feel like when they're interviewing these OC candidates, these guys are coming in and polls will be like, hey, okay, we got Justin and we got Caleb. Can you fix these little things within Justin to quote unquote, as Joe would say, unlock him? Because then if he can, we got no qualms about it. Like if you think about it, right? The Patriots tried to do the same thing with Mac Jones when they brought in Bill O'Brien, but at that point, it was the damage was done. He messed up his mechanics, footwork was messed up, and there's only certain things that you have to fix.
You can break a quarterback.
Yeah, there's certain things that you have to fix within Justin to possibly get him on the right track. The question is, whoever you bring in, can they do that and can they do it quick? Because you need to get in this conversation of being one of the three best teams in the NFC, not just the NFC North.
And we got a couple super chats.
I see a chance for us to be the Seattle Seahawks. I was about to say Seattle Supersonics. Y'all see that? I was about to say we got a chance to be the Seahawks though.
Baby. You talking about the Russell?
Whoa! What version?
You talking about the Russell Wilson?
The Russell Wilson Seahawks.
Yeah, if you protect them.
No, but what I mean by that is the reason that was possible is because they drafted Russ in 2012. They won in 2014. So they won in his going into his third season, but they were able to actually build around him. And
you insulated him. Marshawn Lynch was the biggest piece on that.
We have that opportunity here, even with drafting a QB. And I'm not going to go back into the Fields thing, but even with drafting a QB, you have that opportunity here. There's a winning scenario on both sides of this conversation. And so, like you all said, it's not necessarily about just the QB itself, because we all will agree Russ got better after 2014. 2014 wasn't his best season, right? So, but they were able to build around him. They were able to keep that defense together long enough for it to happen. You have that opportunity here. You really do. No matter who you pick, no matter who you keep, you have the opportunity here. Now, the business of football comes into play sooner with Justin. So, how long can you sustain being on that trajectory? Changes. But either way, I think you have the opportunity to do it. Now, is that going to be good enough to compete against Green Bay? That's the question we have to answer, because realistically, our playoff success is going to be determined about how well we do within our division. Are we going to be good enough to compete with the people in our division?
Well, I say this. We already are. We already did that.
And if our coaches aren't some punks, That's all. It was all coaching. The fact, like Detroit, they beat the brakes off Detroit for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, they should have won that first one.
They can't. They were smashing Denver. Like when they started to finally kind of click, they got scared. Like they played scared down the stretch when we got to lead. We don't know what to do with it. Keep scoring.
Yeah, it is insane that only in football is their sport where it's like that's enough points.
Yeah, we don't want to run the score up.
Hey, what if you score 50 every week, they probably won't beat you most weeks. Like, yeah, but
Yeah, I mean,
and then we're gonna have to deal with how it looks, and we're gonna have to talk about it. It is weird that only in football, like in basketball, if I'm up 40 at the half, I hope I'm up 60 by the end of the game. Like you're not just gonna go, hey man, this game's over. Let's just pull everybody going into the third quarter. That's kind of how we see it in the NFL, though, where they don't pull people, but you definitely stop putting the ball in your best playmakers' hands, play in and play out.
I would say this too. We probably need to really change our focus on team building. I don't know if it's like it's Justin Fields or it's Caleb Williams. I, in my mind, think that Ryan Poles is like, look, I'm building this squad out. I know I need an offensive line. I know I got to get this defense. The defense is maybe a year, this next year away from being a true built defense. Offense could be a year or two because we got to get this offensive line right, the scheme and all this type of stuff. But if he's going to get these picks like he just did, Justin Fields may not be in the plans, just like it was hard to see Roquan leave. Yeah. And so it's like, I want the offensive line. We have not truly built an offensive line. It's always been a hodgepodge mix of guys. It's maybe one draft pick and 4 free agents versus at least 3 to 4 homegrown talent offensive linemen, because you're going to have to overpay for these dudes. And I think that's the problem. The reality is, I think to your point, or most of the point, even some in the chat, Justin Fields will probably cost $40-some million a year if we keep him, even though we like him. Can we afford that team?
Yeah.
Or, hey, you know what? Look, we got to make the hard decisions. We're still building this team out, building the trenches, getting our schemes in place, and we can get a quarterback, because we've seen a 7th rounder go to the 49ers and have a level of success. Even Dak Prescott being a 4th rounder. You've got Jared Goff was traded away and because they were done with him, but he was the number 1 pick, but he's not on the Rams no more. Like, it just depends on the right fit and the right quarterback for that scheme.